So we just entered lockdown again today. This is the third lockdown that I've been in now, and they've been way less, well, they've been less severe and also shorter than in other countries, that's for sure, much shorter. So I feel very lucky about that. The first lockdown I found very hard. The second lockdown I found a lot better. And I do think that was because I prioritised recovery. I lowered my expectations completely of my work and just really focused on challenging my eating disorder actually. So I'm trying to do a similar thing for this lockdown, and also just continuing to eat tasty foods as well, because whether you're in lockdown or not, you still deserve to eat tasty foods, and you should. And I think there's a temptation to like restrict or eat safe foods or something like that because you think that you're not going to be moving around as much and therefore you need to eat less, blah blah blah. But that's disordered behavior, and that's not what I'm doing, and you don't need to do that either. The only reason to engage in that behavior would be due to a fear of weight gain, and we're trying to teach our brains that weight gain is not something to be feared, and the only way to do that is to keep eating lots of food and not restricting. For dinner tonight I'm making tofu satay with rice and vegetables. I really love anything with peanut butter, so I'm looking forward to that. And then for dessert I'll have probably white chocolate and macadamia cookies with ice cream, which I made recently, and I've been eating a lot of those because they're really delicious. Today has been day one and it's been a pretty good day. Kept up my eating, ate some different foods as well. We're in level 3 lockdown, which means we can still get takeaway coffee, which is very nice. So I enjoyed a latte this morning with some of my mum's cake that she made. So yeah, just trying to keep going and take everything one step at a time, because it's easy to get overwhelmed otherwise. So I'm really not even thinking one day at a time, but even just one meal at a time, 1 hour at a time, or even just focusing on right now. Like, I get anxious and like as I said, overwhelmed, so sometimes it helps just to think, well, I'm okay right now, as of this moment I am okay, and just reminding myself of that. So actually I'm gonna watch probably a YouTube video and then make dinner. So this meal is kind of a disaster. The tofu is far too soft and it's meant to be firm, so it's just like falling apart in the fry pan, and also the steps to like coat it in corn flour and everything was just really weird. And I thought looking at it that it looked weird, but I followed the recipe anyway, and I shouldn't have. And the satay sauce just tasted disgusting, so I actually just tossed it out, and I'm making a new satay sauce now. I think the tofu will be salvageable, but yeah, the sauce tasted gross. So yeah, at least the rice is done.
I've seen all of her movies. I can't believe Sylvie's letting me do this. I think she's in a good mood because she's going on vacation. Yes.
So today is Shrove Tuesday, which means pancakes. I don't particularly like pancakes, but that may well be a fair thing because I often feel like they don't fill me up, and then I have to eat something else as well, but that's like totally fine. Or maybe I just haven't been having enough pancakes. So I'm gonna make them because I need to teach my brain that pancakes are okay, pancakes are good, and they do taste delicious, let's not lie. and my mum really loves pancakes, so she got very excited when I said I was going to make them. So I'm going to make them now before I have a meeting on Zoom, and yeah. So my mum's just getting coffee. Fortunately in this lockdown we're still able to get takeaway coffee, which makes me very happy because I really like coffee. So one thing that really helps me during lockdown and has also helped me during my recovery as well is taking things one step at a time. So not even necessarily one day at a time, but literally just like one meal or one snack at a time. It's quite easy to get caught up thinking about the consequences in the longer term, like weight gain or not being sick anymore, or you know, maybe a fear around being healthy. But in the short term, just focusing on literally like one meal rather than thinking further ahead to what that might mean. Like if I eat this, just focus on eating one good recovery sized meal. And the idea is that you do that every time, but just really taking it slow and trying not to get caught up in those what if thoughts. And definitely for me, like I would get caught up thinking, well, if I eat this meal, like in my eating disorder I get caught up thinking, but if I eat this meal now then I have to compensate later or restrict later, blah blah blah, which you don't have to do, absolutely not, and you should not do that in recovery. But I guess the idea is to block out those thoughts because you're literally just focusing on the present right now, which is eating the meal, eating a good recovery meal right now, and dealing with the guilt or anxiety that might come up as it comes. So just being very much in the present, and rather than thinking about what might happen after you eat the meal, because it might not happen, but if it does happen, worrying about it, like if you do feel guilty or anxious afterwards, worrying about it beforehand isn't really going to help. Like it is good to have strategies that you know work for guilt and anxiety afterwards, but most of the time they don't require too much like preparation beforehand. So that idea of one step at a time in recovery, and also in lockdown, one day at a time, has really helped me. So I wasn't sure what to have for breakfast, so I just took a quiz and I'll show you what it told me to have. So I already had pancakes this week, but that is not a reason not to have them again. So this is what I'll be having. So what's also important with the one step at a time mentality is not only staying in the present, because you don't need to think about the future, but also not thinking too much about the past, because I think in recovery it's really easy to think that if you restricted at breakfast and then you think, well, I've already screwed up today, I'm just going to give up for the rest of the day and eat my safe meals or whatever. Or a similar thing like maybe, I binged last night, or I binged, or I ate too much, I have to restrict today. But if we're thinking about, but in this mentality, I think it doesn't matter what you did yesterday, it doesn't matter what you did at breakfast time, we're just thinking about now what you can do to best serve your recovery. So in the moment, right now, for this meal or this snack, or if you're feeling like an urge to exercise or something, what can you do right now to best serve your recovery? It might be, I'm not going to exercise at this moment. I'm not going to exercise for the next hour. I'm going to see if I can sit through this urge. Sit through this urge for the next hour or so and not exercise. Or it might be, I'm going to eat a meal that will serve my recovery right now, or a snack that will serve my recovery right now, and deal with whatever comes up as it comes up. So that's something that's really helped me. Like right now I'm making these pancakes, and it might make me feel anxious afterwards, but I'll deal with that as it happens. If it happens, it might not happen. Just need to flip one of them. Sticking with it. Oops. Screwed that one up a little. Well, food doesn't have to be perfect, as Mexi says. So it's really important not to get caught up in the past, not to get caught up in the future, and just focusing on what you're dealing with at this moment can be quite helpful. So the instructions said chocolate chip pancakes with blueberries, so that's what I've done. Also added maple syrup, obviously. So I'm gonna end this video here. The lockdown was actually very short, only 3 days, which I'm really grateful for, and I know that's like way shorter than what most of you are going through, so sending lots of love to you over there, and keep going. All I want to say about, in this video I talk about making choices for your recovery that will best serve you in the moment, and I don't want people to get confused and think I'm talking about being mindful in terms of like mindful eating, like sitting there and like savouring food or whatever, and that sort of mindful eating, because I don't personally do that and I don't find it helpful. I mean making the choice for your recovery that will best serve you in the moment, but then distracting yourself while eating is totally fine, and that is absolutely what I do most of the time. So yeah, I just wanted to clear that up. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll record again soon. Bye.